Wake up, guys. Wake up, guys. Listen, it does not matter what time of the day or night it is. Wake up. So officially, Kamala Harris has chosen her VP, okay, and which is Tim Walz, if you guys haven't heard yet. So listen, if you want to know who this guy is and what he's done, watch this video and I will come back with my commentary and my lessons.
I am the pocket.
Walz is also seen as an attack dog, not shy about going after former President Trump or his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance.
Well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something.
Team winning in a landslide.
The process of how we as a state and how we as a nation respond to these things is really important.
2020 would bring defining moments, the COVID pandemic and the kill of George Floyd, which triggered riots and criticism from Republicans over why it took Walz 3 days to call in the National Guard.
Decisions were made in a situation that is what it is, and I simply believe that we tried to do the best we can.
Walz's critics also point to a state audit report that found major failures by Minnesota's education department during the pandemic, allowing rampant misuse of a federal program meant to feed children.
Republicans doing their homework right now, trying to figure out how to run against Governor Walz. What are you hearing?
Well, they've done their homework apparently pretty quickly, Lester, because we're already hearing now some reaction from the Trump camp going after Tim Walz for essentially his record, the policies that he put in place, that he backed as a member of Congress and that he put in place as governor of Minnesota, linking him to what they call the Biden-Harris agenda on immigration, on gun legislation, on climate, for example, and describing the newly named now Harris-Walz ticket as a team of radicals. That's a quote now from Team Trump. This is not altogether unexpected, as Peter has laid out. There had been some, what you might call Walz-mentum that had been in play over the course of the last week or so. Some talk about what Tim Walz could bring to the ticket, what he could do for Vice President Kamala Harris, as she is now officially on the top of the ticket on the Democratic side.
A working-class politician from a rural background, Minnesota's Tim Walz is known for not pulling punches.
This is not about the Second Amendment. This is about the safety of our children and our communities.
A self-described white dude for Kamala Harris, the popular governor will now run alongside the nation's first woman of color atop a major party's ticket. Walz grew up in small-town Nebraska and joined the National Guard as a teenager. He'd served in the National Guard for more than 2 decades, eventually becoming a school teacher. After moving to Minnesota, he volunteered for John Kerry's presidential campaign, and in an upset, he was elected to Congress in 2006. Walz served in Washington for the next 12 years, establishing himself as a moderate Democrat. Then he ran for governor in 2018, winning in a landslide.
The process of how we as a state and how we as a nation respond to these things is really important.
2020 would bring defining moments, the COVID pandemic and the killing of George Floyd, which triggered riots and criticism from Republicans over why it took Walz 3 days to call in the National Guard.
Decisions were made in a situation that is what it is, and I simply believe that we tried to do the best we can.
Walz's critics also point to a state audit report that found major failures by Minnesota's education department during the pandemic, allowing rampant misuse of a federal program meant to feed children.
If you commit fraud in Minnesota, you are going to be caught and you are going to go to prison.
Still, Walz has long had strong union support. The president of the United Auto Workers says he was among his top choices for VP.
I had an opponent who thought this was a real zinger when we were going at it. He said, Governor Walz is in the pocket of organized labor. And I said, that is a damn lie. I am the pocket.
Walz is also seen as an attack dog, not shy about going after former President Trump or his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance.
Well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something.
Now, the plain-spoken 60-year-old governor from the Midwest is set to join a historic national ticket.
Mentioned later this month, Tim Walz, the governor, popular two-term governor, elected in 2018. He is a former high school teacher and former coach who went on to represent Minnesota in Congress for 12 years. The 60-year-old also served for more than 2 decades in the Army National Guard. Harris and Walz will appear together for the first time later today at a rally in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, Peter Alexander. Peter, what do we know about Tim Walz and this decision-making process?
Lester, we know that we're going to see him for the first time on stage alongside Kamala Harris just a matter of hours from now after we get the formal unveiling from the campaign, expected to happen early this morning. That event will happen here in Philadelphia. Notably, another vice presidential potential pick, Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania's governor, will also be in attendance. To give you a little better understanding about Tim Walz right now, he is a popular 2-term governor. Among other things, he sort of checks that box of what we have been reporting that Kamala Harris was looking for a governing partner who served 12 years in Congress. Notably, he's one of the rare Democrats who represented a rural community in Minnesota. It's part of that plain-spoken style that, as we understand it, may have appealed to Kamala Harris right now. Among the desires for her going forward is to try to secure that critical blue wall, the key states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan as well. The hope, according to those close to this process, is that she, with him at her side, will be able to help secure those key battleground states. Without them, certainly without Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris cannot win the presidential race. So beyond the rural appeal, he is also the Democratic Governors Association's head. He leads that organization of governors across the country right now. And he did make an impression on the Harris team over the course of what has been a rapid-fire vetting process. It was Walz himself who first used that word weird to describe not Republicans, but Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, the ticket, a phrase, a word that ultimately we saw many others throughout the Democratic Party, some of Vice President Harris's own surrogates using in the days that followed. Lester, just to pull back the curtain for a second, I'm told by a source familiar with this process that as of late last night, Kamala Harris, the vice president, had not yet made up her mind, that she wanted to sleep on it for another night. And to give you a better understanding of how this was going down to the wire, the Harris campaign had printed signs, a variety of different signs that they could use no matter who she picked, with her name on top and a variety of different names beneath it. Joe Biden notably did the same. He had signs for 12 possible scenarios made back in 2020. But again, that's the most information we have at this time as we learn more about Tim Walz right now. In our conversations with those familiar with this process, there were sort of 3 C's that she had been looking for. She wanted someone that demonstrated competence, someone that also had shared sort of a personal chemistry with her and, frankly, with her husband, Doug Emhoff, who had participated in a lot of this process as well, and also someone who they felt very strongly could help secure some of those key states going forward. As we noted, Minnesota, not a state that the Democrats are worried about, a state that the Democratic Party has not lost since 1972, but some of those key neighbors, including Wisconsin right next door, Michigan and Pennsylvania, are obviously key for her. We're going to be watching this over the course of the morning. Lester, will keep you posted as we gather more from our sources.
Listen, guys, this is just my commentary and my opinion. Okay, I knew it. I knew that Kamala was going to try to find someone who can challenge Donald Trump. So basically, it's all about, to me, this is my opinion, I feel like it's all about who can challenge Trump, because Kamala already know that she cannot win against Trump. She can't challenge Trump. So she brought somebody that I want to say that looks like him, that's, has a mouth probably or something of that sort. But this governor of Minnesota, I don't know too much about him. I'm just not learning about him, so I won't go too much into anything about him because I do not want to give any misleading information. I just want to give my 2 cents and my comment that I feel like she chose someone who can actually stand up, who she feel can actually stand up to Donald Trump. Okay, so I feel like this is going to get very interesting really, really quick. Okay, we are about to see some historically things happen. Okay, like I'm talking about, it's about to get real crazy real fast. Okay, so listen, guys, I'm going to come back with my lessons. Okay, so stay tuned for my lessons. Okay, but listen. Okay, do you agree with this pick Do you think do you think Tim Walz is fitting for the Kamala Harris camp or whatever? Do you feel like he can actually stand up against Trump? Okay, because I feel like Trump will eat him up and spit him out. You understand? Which hey, it is what it is. You understand? So guys, hold on tight for my lessons, okay? Strategic thinking. Number 1, be calculative. Okay, Kamala Harris selecting Tim Walz might be a strategic move to appeal to a broader voter base and present a strong front against Trump. Okay, similarly, in life, always consider the broader implications of your decisions. Choose partners who complement your strengths and address your weaknesses. Number 2, analyze motivations. Understand the deeper reasons behind actions. Harris might be trying to pander to specific demographics. In your life, always analyze the motivations behind others' actions to avoid being manipulated. Recognize when someone is using you for their gain and act accordingly. Okay, avoiding manipulation. Number 1, critical thinking. Don't take things at face value. Look for evidence and ask questions to uncover the true intentions behind actions. This helps in seeing things for what they really are and prevents manipulation. Number 2, stay informed. Keep yourself educated and aware of the facts. Knowledge is power, and it can protect you from being easily swayed by rhetoric or false promises. Strategic life planning. Number 1, long-term goals. Just as Harris's decision might be aimed at long-term political success, always plan your actions with long-term goals in mind. Think about where you want to be in the future and make decisions that will help you get there. Number 2, adaptability. Be ready to adapt your strategies based on changing circumstances. The political landscape is ever-changing, and so is life. Stay flexible and adjust your plans as needed to stay on top. Seeing through facades. Number 1, discernment. Develop the ability to discern true intentions behind actions. This can help you see through facades and understand the real motives of others, enabling you to make better decisions. Number 2, intuition and logic. Balance intuition with logical thinking. Sometimes your gut feeling can alert you that something isn't quite right, but always back it up with logical analysis. And my conclusion, understanding these strategic moves in politics can provide valuable life lessons. Kamala Harris choosing Tim Walz as her running mate teaches us about the importance of strategic partnerships, avoiding manipulation, and seeing things for what they really are. By applying these lessons, you can navigate life's challenges more effectively and come out on top. Always remember to think critically, stay informed, and plan strategically for long-term success. Okay? And remember this, every lesson, every story, okay, and every outcome has something to teach us. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe.